I think once they're a customer, they take precedence over anything.
Yeah.
Really. You got to move on to, a relationship at that point.
Yep.
Like, what can I do for you moving forward? Or
Yep.
when can I help you? Or, oh, you got a touch up, but it's past your warranty. Let's just take care of
it. This is Don't Fear Grit with Rob Taormina. Marketing strategies and advertising technologies to help you build a better business.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another great show. Here in the studio, we have a local entrepreneur that is absolutely killing it. I'm going to give him props right now. He's doing a great job, and he's doing a lot of things that all of you should be doing, but also he should be scaling what he's doing because of the results that he's getting, and we're going to get into all of the nitty-gritty. But before we go into that, I want him to introduce himself. Doug.
Yes.
Dude, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man.
Pleasure,
Absolutely.
man. Pleasure.
All right, before we launch into it, just tell everyone who you are, the name of your business, all that good stuff.
Okay. What's up, everybody? My name is Doug. I own All About Grout, which is a local, grout restoration, tile restoration company, but it's kind of like transcended into other types of restorations, stone care, glass restoration, and then in the spring we do power washing, paver restoration, just anything that's taking something that kind of looks old and making it new for like the fraction of the price of going with new. And that's kind of my niche.
Cool. So you're in the service-based industry. All About Grout, how long have you been doing that?
It's been on and off. It's been a business for a very long time, but it's something that's been kind of a side business, or maybe something that I've just put back in the back burner and used it when I needed, or when the family needed extra funds, I'd go out and start back.
Side hustle.
But over the past, since like late last June, we went full time with it, and I tried to start scaling it and the trials of hiring people.
Oh yeah.
And going through that whole situation. So since June, it's been what it is now. What you see, with the branding and the marketing and me out there on social media, that's been since June.
Yeah. That transitional point, by the way, is something that literally every single person that's an entrepreneur will go through when they go from side hustle, where it's either just sort of supporting a habit or making some extra cash, to this is going to be like my full-time gig and this is a serious business. Everyone goes through that. And that's actually a point of failure for a lot of people. And one of those points of failure, you already mentioned it, and I want to go right into that, is hiring. I think hiring is probably the biggest challenge for everyone. And what have you sort of seen as the reason? I don't know if you've been developing reasons, but why do you think it's so hard to find good quality staff?
I guess the first thing about hiring is most of the good people are taken. So you need to make it a situation where you're providing something of value. And of course, I think pay is the first thing. Pay is the first thing, but going and hiring just anyone, I did that. And, you almost sell your soul to whoever will come through the door and work for you, and being in customers' homes and trying to give like the customer experience, which I don't think a lot of companies are doing anymore. I think at this point, it's like, you got to find the right guy. Like you can teach almost anybody to do anything as long as they want to learn,
Sure.
As they want to learn. But I'm right now, I've been through probably 20 guys that have not made it more than a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy cow, are you serious?
Yeah. I've had guys walk off the job because the job was too tough.
Wow.
I've had guys arguing on jobs.
Yeah.
I've had customers complaining about people's language. I mean, it's been awful. It's been awful. Yeah, because I would never do that myself.
Yeah.
So I found I got two guys right now that are like the epitome of everything that I want to convey through my business. I want to know when I pass that job off from my estimate to them doing the job that they are going to represent us well.
Yeah. That's key. I mean, when you find, or when you're interviewing someone, you want to find someone that can represent your brand, your product, do the job really, really well. And you would think that someone, submitting their resume for the job would understand that, right? But unfortunately, that's sort of not the game these days. We're dealing with a very soft culture that they are. I don't know, resistant to the idea of, first of all, they're resistant to the idea of labor-based jobs, anything in labor, whether it be like construction, tile work, grout, plumbing, electrical work, and anything where they've got to use their hands. There's a whole sort of culture movement where they want to stay away from that stuff.
Well, I've noticed that a lot of people that I've had come through over the years, many years I've had helpers and everything.
Yeah.
A lot of them, their dad either wasn't there or wasn't teaching them how to use, like taking the time to just say, hey, come here, let me show you how to build this shelf.
Yeah.
Right? Or let me show you how to, work on the car. And, it kind of shows now.
Yeah, that's actually a really great point. It really is a really great point. And to be fair, we don't know the stories that are leading to people, to this position where maybe they don't want that type of job. So, but the fact is, it still makes it hard for the entrepreneur to find that person because you need that job done. And so it's good that you've been able to find at least 2 people. Yeah. And now the idea is to do everything you can.
Yeah, I need like 100 more. Yeah.
To first keep them, and then you want to duplicate them somehow. You need to clone that model. So what is next in order for you now to scale? Are you revealing what that secret is? Like, in order for you to scale, get to the next step, what do you need to do? Right.
That's an amazing question. So, I've realized that I've gotten to this point now where I've gotten a couple guys and we've gotten, my wife runs the office and she needs help desperately, so we're like trying to find somebody, but I'm like at that like hump where you have to almost take a step back. You got to know that, the money's not going to be rolling in because you're going to have to take on a whole bunch of extra staff, and you got to like take that leap. It's got to be like a leap of faith, and I think I'm right there, building a good base of people that you can trust and guys that could eventually move up and supervise other guys, and having a legitimate office where people are there every day. There's a big difference between like you said, from working as the side hustle to a legitimate business. There's almost a step back there, and then you build it back up again, and then you got to be willing to say, okay, let's roll it back again and like totally reinvent, everything that we do here. And you have the tools here now, the social media, and there's a lot of good local advertising on Long Island that people really don't even know about. Everybody thinks it's just about your website and Google AdWords and SEO, and yes, that's a thing. But it's just one tool out of the toolbox, and you need to have a little bit of everything.
Sure.
And it's great to find a branding manager, or it's great to find a company that can do a lot of that stuff for you. But, that's not always in the budget for everybody. So you got to be innovative yourself. You got to think about this stuff like 24 hours a day.
Oh, absolutely. So let's talk about 2 things, what worked and what has not worked, right? So let's start with what has not worked. As far as marketing and advertising and you generating new business, what's some of the things that you've tried that you just have not gotten a result from?
So, I started a website and had some of that done, and I realized that like my business particularly is, not a lot of people know it exists. Everybody thinks they're going to call, and they've had like experiences where they'll call tile companies, and the tile companies will give them the runaround. Like it's not that they don't want to work, but they don't have time for a smaller job. Yeah. So what hasn't worked for me is stuff that when it comes to them having their own idea, where they said, all right, I'm going to look this up. So I've put some money into that budget and not really seen much. Yeah. A lot of the other things too, some of these, like the older coupon books. I haven't done well with that. But to be honest with you, there hasn't been much that hasn't worked. I really think that, with having the way we look with the branding and when they call, we answer the phone and they get a friendly voice on the other end, and we actually, have, we're prompt with our appointments. That's what's been good. So even though I've put some money into some bad advertising that hasn't worked out well, it's probably something that needed more time, to kind of like stew and percolate and get your name out there. But once I didn't really make too much moves on that, I moved on to something else, and that's been good for us. So.
Yeah, a lot of people don't have the patient game. They don't have a good patient game. This isn't the age of where they want it now. You can click of a button on an app, you can get something, and yes. So when you execute on some type of marketing plan and you don't get a result the next day, people get impatient and they quit.
That's why it's called the budget, right?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? It's not a one-time payment. You got to say, this is how much we can afford to throw at this,
Right.
But I mean, you could seriously throw thousands away, not knowing your lane. You got to kind of figure out your lane.
Absolutely. You said something, and I want to touch on it a little bit. And number one, by the way, you do have a fantastic brand.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
It's on point. Your name represents what it is that you guys do, so it's very, very clear. I love it. But another thing that you said is it has to do with the fact that you oh God, what the heck was it? It has to do with the fact that you are sort of realizing that you're more than just a grout guy, right? It's more than just doing the job, is that you have to have a good service, right? I think this is neglected. I think that everyone listening, if you own a business or you have ambitions of opening a business, you have to set up your infrastructure. You have to focus on and have great customer service,
right.
Especially if you are in the service industry or servicing customers at their houses or whatever it is that you do. If you don't have good customer service, forget it. You're screwed.
Right, yeah.
But although I got to be honest, I feel like that's sort of the reputation that your sort of industry has. Like, no offense, like plumbers, electricians,
right.
Contractors, like you're never getting them on the phone. They never call you back. They never actually meet. When they say it'll take X amount of time, it's always 2 or 3 times more than that. Right. You know what I mean? There's inconsistencies there. So learn from that. And what I mean by learn from it is, if you're seeing an industry where the industry as a whole is failing, that means you can get involved with that industry and take a chunk of market share by you just saying, you know what, I'm going to be the guy who has great customer service.
Right.
And you'll do fine.
Right.
And it seems like you guys have been doing well with that.
I think people are missing that. I think there has been this like horrible like trend for service, and this is the reason why. And I put a lot of thought behind this. You don't really, you see an electrician, you very rarely see more than one truck, maybe 2, but very rarely. It's usually sole proprietor.
Yes,
he's doing everything.
Yeah,
and it's not that he doesn't want to work, or it's not that he can't. That he just don't have the time to make the phone calls, or hey, I'll come by for an estimate tomorrow, and then the job runs late. He doesn't call the customer. It's just, that's kind of like the trend of how my industry is.
Yeah, and
we're changing that. We're trying to change that at least. Yep. And what I always tell a few of my friends who want to start up businesses, because they see what I'm doing.
Yep.
And they're not around here, so I really give them everything. And I say, look, if you're not going to be good with the customer, get somebody that's going to be.
Yes.
If you're not going to be able to make phone calls, find somebody that can do it for $100, between the hours of 5 and 7, just so the calls get out. I mean, there's where there's a will, there's a way, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's also talk about automation tools. I don't know if you've built in any, but if, let's say this guy, John Doe here, he's a sole proprietor guy. He has no employees. Right. He's doing everything himself, from doing the work to taking the calls, right? So someone like that, in my opinion, should even embrace some technology, because you can let technology then do a lot of that work.
Absolutely.
If you're saying, I don't have the time to make the phone calls or take the phone calls or reply to the emails, and I don't have the budget to hire someone, even if it's $15 an hour, then fine. Then outsource it to companies that you can have technology do that for you, because that touch point is critical. If someone's calling you for a job and you're not picking up, because we're in the age, like I said before, of I want it now, guess what they're doing?
Yeah. Google.
They're going to the next
one. Yeah,
they're going on to the next one. There's no loyalty these days. They're loyal to the person that can pick up the phone and answer the questions in that moment. And if you can't deliver on that, then you might as well not be in business, because you're going to be out. Very, very quickly. So if you're fortunate, and we're going to give a little shout out, I guess, to your wife, that you've got a great team, and that's sort of helping you out with that infrastructure. Right. And so you've got a lot of things so far. You've got a great brand. You're right. Your name represents what you do. Your logo, your colors, it's striking. People see it, they identify it. So that's huge, because when everyone, you'll get this. Ready? I've got a guy. Right? Have you ever heard that?
Yes.
I've got a guy. Yeah. Right? I've got a guy, and we all have like our own guys. But if you ever think about who is the plumber on Long Island, I couldn't tell you.
Right.
Who's the electrician on Long Island? I couldn't tell you. But now let's expand a little bit and understand brand marketing and why it's so important. When you think of Facebook, who do you think of? Mark Zuckerberg, right?
Yeah,
When you think of Tesla, who do you think of? Elon Musk. Now, I know these are billionaires, but there's a reason why I'm bringing this up, is because companies' brand image is so important, and to develop the brand image and associate it with you. And I think you have done a really great job building up the brand of your business and associating it with you. Doug, you're everywhere. Doug, all about grout. I mean, like your guy is you. That's definitely. I know there's a guy. Can we get that? Can you zoom in? Is that all right? I'm gonna have the producer here, Craig. I'm gonna have him zoom in. You literally have a superhero as like your cartoon character.
Well, I mean, that's what they referred to me for the first 12 years of me doing this.
Is that right?
Oh yeah, I got a grout guy. I got a grout man. Yeah, that's the grout man.
Right.
They call me up. Hey, is this the grout man? Kind of stuck. So,
all about grout, and it's awesome. And listen, I understand you being a savior, because in the grout world, and I'm going to give you a little bit of endorsement here. Is you're right, and I think you said this earlier, where people are confused. They don't know who to call for that.
Right.
Am I calling a contractor for just grout?
That's what I'm saying. And the price would be so astronomical, because that's going to trickle down to me. Like, I'm literally going to get called by the contractor. Hey, can you go over here and do this job?
Yeah.
There's not many of us out there anymore. And
right.
and the reason behind it is that it's a touch up business.
Mm-hmm,
It's all customer oriented. So if you don't expect to go back and deal with customer having a little bit of an issue, if you're not going to make time for that, move on to something else, because this is not the industry for you.
Oh, absolutely. I say another guy who's similar to you, it's like a specialist that you don't see a lot of anymore, but it's so important, spacklers.
Oh, yeah.
I think, these are guys where, again, when someone needs a spackle job, they're not finding actually the guy who's doing it. They're calling a company who's going to then outsource it, and the customer's going to pay more for that. So in this case, this is a great example where the customer can go direct to the person who is the expert who is doing this locally. And then another little endorsement of you. I think a lot of homeowners also think, they look down and see their tiles, they see the bad grout, and they think, I've got to rip up all of my tiles. I've got to start over. Right. Can you tell me, is that true?
No, it's not. I mean, it's not true. It can be like, not every job's the same, right? Mm-hmm, so some jobs, and I try to be honest when I go there, because, you build a customer relationship by being honest. So when you go there, if it's more than you can handle, then what you do is you just let them know that, But 90%, 95% of the time, no, it can be all restored, and it seems so trivial, right? It's grout, but you have a beautiful $30,000 kitchen, and in a year, everything looks the same except the grout. It looks dirty and disgusting.
Sure.
And a lot of times it's something as simple as just how you mopping it. And a quick clean, and we stain the grout, we seal the grout, and it could look like brand new. For a couple $100.
Incredible.
It's really nothing.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a good service. People are very happy with it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I've seen some of I see you post before and afters and whatnot, and it's extraordinary, honestly, what you're able to do. And more people just need to know that your type of service is available, right? And so what type of challenge, like the one I just mentioned, have you had maybe over the years? And if it is that, can you just sort of share a little bit more about how you've overcome the challenge of maybe educating? Because what I'm getting is that with your service, people just don't realize that it's available. Right. So how are you overcoming that as a challenge?
So I mean, I think Facebook has been like an amazing tool for that, because you can put up a small story or a video or whatever have you. But when you go on the estimate, every one of them is a little job interview. And you go there and you communicate really well, and you explain and you give options, and you don't make them feel bad about how their shower looks per se, and they get comfortable with you. And then you get an opportunity, like when you're doing the job too, to explain it as you go. Yeah. Involve them in the process of doing the job. And I found out that that's been like the key to success for me, because communication is everything. And a lot of times, they'll say, oh, they had some other work done from another contractor. Not to bash anybody specifically, but they'll say, they came in here, they gave me a price, they sent somebody here that I had no idea who it was. And they did the job, and I'm not even sure what they did. And I'm like, well, you don't know where your money went. Were you happy with the service? I wasn't. And you listen to that, you learn from that. And in our industry, it's like there's a lot of failure out there, even on my end. That you could learn from, and if you try not to make that same mistake too many times, I think you can move on. You can move forward and have something like, the word of mouth business is everything.
Oh God, yeah.
Referrals are everything.
Yeah, that actually hasn't changed. Like since the very first exchange of money, right? Or you have a business, I have a business, let's exchange money for that product or service, right? Is word of mouth is ultimately how things have grown 2,000 years ago, and it's how they grow now. It's just the ability to get that word out there. It's just faster now. We've got digital tools that enables us and our customer base and our big fans, right? I call them raving fans, to be your ambassador publicly. And that word can spread like wildfire. And I think a great example of what can really make a business is those Facebook moms groups, right? It's the ultimate center of I've got a guy, I've got a girl, word of mouth. Now, they can make and break you as well, right?
You have to mention that because it is, you're married to it. You're married to it. It's a double-edged sword, but it's good because it keeps you honest. And
accountability.
In this time where, I know people who have given estimates to a customer, they thought the price was too high and they gave them a bad review, and it's scary because we kind of live and die by those,
Yes.
I've learned over the times I've only had one, not to pat myself on the back at this point, I've only had one like bad review.
Yeah.
And, but it's how you handle them too.
Yes.
But yeah, the mom groups, shout out to, Massapequa moms specifically.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They put me on the map with mom groups when I first kind of got on there.
Okay. Okay.
And we went pretty far, pretty fast.
Yeah,
just with that.
Sure.
And now apparently, because my wife's on there because she kind of monitors them to help out if anybody needs. But you can't mention tile, grout work, or anything like that without us just like trending on that. Which is I'm super grateful for.
Yeah,
humbled.
Yeah, I mean they're incredible, and also just getting back again. I know I'm sort of repeating myself here. You know what makes it easy for someone to recommend you when you've got a name like you have. It's sometimes it could be hard to, think about like, how do I spell that guy's last name? You know what I mean? Like we're not all friends on Facebook, so it's hard to tag that person. But in your case, you've got this name where it's easy to remember, it's easy to recognize, it's easy to recommend. So again, this is just me trying to like focus everyone on brand image is important.
Super, super important. And it's even like the little advertisements on Facebook,
Yeah.
They have to be somewhat eye-catchy. They got to be to the point. They just have to be something. They don't, I've seen some elaborate stuff that I'm like, I don't have the time to watch this.
Yeah.
I'm moving on.
Yeah.
And it's almost like the more simpler I've made the posts and, it's to the point now where I can't really put too much up on social media anymore because we get too busy.
Wow. You got to hire more people.
Yeah. Well, that's.
You don't want to give up the business, right?
Yeah.
You got to scale then.
Yeah. We're working. We're working on it.
Yeah.
We're working on
it. That's awesome.
It's a process that I guess I'm learning,
Yeah.
It's funny, you're an entrepreneur. Like, it's funny because I literally started out of the garage, and working out of the trunk of my car years ago. And, it didn't feel entrepreneurish.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now it's starting to feel like I got something.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of it, and I'm proud of the guys that have come through and helped me move. And I built a team, a little bit of a team. A couple guys I've talked to on online who have helped me through just marketing campaigns, and I have someone I look up to in business who's kind of guided me through, and that's
a mentor.
A mentor. Yeah.
Yep.
That's maybe one of the most important things that I've had because he's always been honest. He teaches me, the things that went wrong for him. And he's never been shy to tell me all the mess ups.
Yeah,
and
good, bad, and ugly.
Yeah. And I've learned from that. He's always been open with me.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing.
That's a good tip is finding sort of like your accountability partner. But I think when trying to find that good quality accountability partner, I think you have to find someone that's been there and done that.
Right.
Someone who's already achieved that success, who's already leveled up more than you have, because it's going to raise the bar for you then. It's something to work towards.
Right.
And so it's critical that you have it. I'm glad that you actually have that. That's huge.
It's been big for us.
Yeah.
For me, just personally.
Yeah.
And he's also an amazing friend.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
like
that works out.
You can call and kind of give him anything, and he's there for you. Yeah.
Very cool. All right, some direct questions. Have you done or ran yourself Facebook ads?
I have done many of those. Yes.
Okay. Do Facebook ads work for you?
They are 100% working for us.
They are.
Yeah.
So you're putting a piece of content out there, putting a few bucks behind it, and you're getting calls or emails or leads that are turning into paying customers.
Yeah. My return on investment is 10 times, 15, 20 times.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
So you're 10xing, in some case 20xing your return.
Maybe more.
Is everyone hearing that? He's running Facebook ads. Here's a guy, you're doing grout.
Right.
So we've got the grout guy running Facebook ads. Right. You're getting business from it.
Yeah, I think the first Facebook ad I put out was a $50 ad. We got like 25, 30 leads off of it.
Holy cow.
Yeah, 50
It's incredible.
Bucks. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And then you can take that, run with it, and do a lot of things. And
right. You gotta, it's a thing where you have to be on top of it.
Yeah.
You can't just you can't do what a lot of people do. Like, all right, run an ad, and then 4 or 5 days later, I see like 4 or 5 days later, people running ads, they're not getting back to people. I'm on it like immediately.
Oh yeah.
People like that, like
yes,
they're in front of the computer or the phone right then.
Yeah.
Get it then.
Right. Why not try to convert them in that moment?
Right.
Which is why, like, for me, even whether it be for my business or for our clients, in that case, I love the automation tools.
Right.
If you're not someone who can really pick up that phone in that moment, you have to embrace automation.
Right.
And it's very simple with Facebook. Like, you could take your lead, generate it on Facebook, and you can plug it into an email automation sequence that automatically will fire away an email, automatically fire away a text message, automatically fire away a link where they can book an appointment. Like, you could do all these things without you ever touching it.
I mean, they have that all on Facebook.
Right.
I mean, I don't personally use it. I have a invoicing program that about when COVID hit, we had a little time off, which, we went to the outside work at that point. But I switched over to a new program. It's amazing. It sends texts when you're on your way. It makes you look like you're this amazingly organized, and it does. It organizes you, and organization, I guess. Is
it's not the perception, because if you're using it, that means you are organized, though.
Yeah.
So, got to give you the credit there. So very, very cool. All right. So we've learned about what has worked, what has not worked, what you're going to be doing. You're looking to scale, right? Before we move on, just remind everyone again where they can go to find more information about you.
Okay. I mean, we have our website, which is allaboutgroutli.com. Our Facebook, just type in All About Grout, where we come up pretty easily. Or if you're local, just ask any of the mom groups. Or you could call the office.
Yeah. Cool. Very, very cool. All right. So when you're not doing grout, though, what are you doing? You can't only be about grout, right? I know your business says you're all about grout, right?
Right.
But what else are you about?
I mean, I we do a lot of family stuff, which is amazing. I get, some time with them. The business takes up a lot of time,
Yeah.
Being a family business, though, it's kind of accepted, which is nice. Everybody's involved, The girls sometimes come to estimates with me,
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. It is cool. It's cool. I like it. I wouldn't have it any other way. And that's it. To be honest with you, I've been living this thing for the last 2 years, or almost 2 years now.
Incredible.
But I write my music. I got family time, and if it's not that, then it's work. We get some date nights out, and that's usually consisting of scheduling.
Yeah.
While we're eating, that's always big.
Yeah. Listen, being an entrepreneur is not a 9-to-5 job. You're plugged in 24/7.
You have to be, man. You have to be.
Yeah.
If you're gonna go for it, go for it.
I agree.
I
totally agree.
You lose a couple of years on the front end, but on the back end, your life could be, what you hope it could be.
Yeah. So remind me, I know we've had like a bunch of exchanges online. I've never met you in person. This is the first time we're meeting.
First time.
Like, do you remember? I don't even remember how we first started talking online.
I do. I actually remember, because you had reached out about seeing what I did, and you said, "Listen, this needs a time lapse video," and we had started talking about that.
That's right.
Yep.
Okay.
And I still haven't done the time lapse video, but every single job I'm on, I'm like, man, I should have did it.
All right. So that little note is in the back of your head.
Yeah.
Okay. You should. By the way.
That's what I'm saying. That I haven't even wrapped the van.
Yeah.
And my friend, my mentor, he owns me on that every time.
Yeah, he's on your case with that stuff.
I can't get any more calls right now. You know what I mean? Like I don't have the ability to do any more work. We're booked. I have the brakes on full right now, because I'm just trying to get through COVID and trying to make sure that these guys stay working. Last year in October, we were booked past January.
Yeah.
And this year, I'm just trying to keep it at around 2 weeks, which is even more stressful because you're just kind of going with the flow. But yeah, that's how we met. And I've been following you ever since, man. You got really good content. The podcast is awesome. And
thank you.
Yeah. Well, we need it out here, man. We need someone giving out information, you know, where you can kind of consume stuff for free before you make a decision to kind of move in and really have a budget for it.
Sure.
And, you know, and you need someone out there like you. And there's others, you know, there's a lot of content out there, who are willing to give you the entry level stuff. And that's huge. It's big because one little thought that you can implant in someone's brain, they can run with that for forever, you know?
I agree. And honestly, and by the way, thank you for saying all that. I really appreciate it. But that's why I want to put out as much free content as possible, because oftentimes, at least what I have found with people is they've got great ideas. I don't think that people are not lost on that. I mean, people have really good ideas. I think they get nervous and scared. They've got lots of fear. They don't know what the next steps are, or they just need encouragement. Like they just need someone else to tell them, wow, that's a great idea. You should do this. And that's what people don't have in their lives. What people don't have is they don't have consistent encouragement. They don't have access to resources to enable them to just, take that first step, So that's why we try to put out as much as possible to try to get people to that place.
Well, it's a community, right? Isn't
that
what
God, it should be.
Yeah, it's a community. And, I guess if you're not in direct competition with somebody,
Even then, by the way.
Well, no, that's
even
me.
Then,
that's me.
yes.
Yeah, that's me. That's actually, what I learned from my good friend. Shout out to Justin. He embraced when I kind of stepped in his lane a little bit with the work I did, and that's because he taught me how to do the work. Yeah. And instead of it causing a rift, it actually made us closer, and we work together now. And all of a sudden, we're sharing we're sharing the knowledge.
Yep.
And all of a sudden now you're taking an industry and you're elevating it, and you're enabling other people to come in there and possibly start a business, and with all of that, the price point of your jobs, they go up.
Absolutely. I agree.
That's huge.
It is huge. And you're making a good point. Number one, there's enough work out there. Number two, there's a phrase that I live by, and it's the tide rises for all ships. And that could be applicable in a few different ways. But in this sense, I really believe that even when like-minded people, when businesses that are direct competitors, they come together and they work together, what you can do, number one, you can clean up your industry. You can create a great standard together. Right. You can attract more attention. You can actually educate more people about what you do. Once you do all of that, you're creating more business opportunities. Right. So it really does help everyone, and I wish more people would embrace that. Listen, I own, one of the ventures I have, I own a social media marketing agency, and I regularly will work with other social media marketing agencies, even on Long Island. Now, listen, we handle stuff all over the country, but I'll work with people locally. Right. In fact, I even recommend other social media marketing agencies locally. I don't mind doing that because I think that's important. I think then you build trust. Right. There's a sort of like a formula that I have, and it's that it's sort of like the life cycle of a customer, and it's this. And it starts off with you giving value. If you give value to your customer, what does that do? That will yield them trusting you. Once you can earn enough trust, what that does is it presents you the opportunity to have a transaction then. Right. It's not the other way around, actually. No. You're not going to create a long-term customer that way. No. And I know you do that. Like hearing your story right now, you clearly just naturally get that. Right. And that's why I guarantee you, without even asking this question, you probably have repeat customers.
Yes. Repeat customers. It's a job that, it's something that lasts a few years.
Yeah. I'm not talking about you did a bad job, they call you back.
No. But
there's multiple bathrooms. There's definitely the dining room. There's the kitchen, and then
referrals.
And referrals, right? And a repeat customer is a referral as well. Yeah, so, 100%. So I guarantee you probably get a ton of that stuff.
We do. Our customers are the best. They really are. It's almost like family situation when we get there. It's good, but I put a good product in front of them, from the minute that they engage with us all the way to the very end of the job. We try to put out a good product, and then that product is sold to the neighbor. It's sold on Facebook, and that's what I'm saying. I think a lot of people are afraid to go on Facebook.
Yeah.
They see kind of the negativity of what's going on there too, which it can get like that.
Yeah.
Just because like frustration and just the freedom of speech, you can just say whatever you want.
It's true.
And it's a little nerve wracking, but it's worth it. It's so worth it to try to just add another tool to like the tool chest and move on. And so repeat customers are, I think, the most important thing. I think once they're a customer, they take precedence over anything.
Yeah.
Really. You got to move on to, a relationship at that point.
Yep.
Like, what can I do for you moving forward? Or when can I help you? Or, oh, you got a touch up, but it's past your warranty. Let's just take care of it.
Right.
Let's just get over there and do it. So
Yeah. I'm going to sort of give a little like a sum up tip for everyone, even just based on your experience here. And I would say that if you want to be put in a position where your customers, it's really difficult for them to say no to you. Right. I think that's what all business owners want. Like, how can I position my product, service, brand message in front of a customer where it's hard for them to say no? Not hard for them to say yes, but it's hard for them to say no. Well, it's actually pretty simple. Number one, great customer service. Like, all right, for you, all about grout, check. Actually do the job that you say you're going to do, right?
Very important.
It's very important, right? So if you do that, that's check, right? And then that's the next one is in line with this is do good work. And the way that I define doing good work is don't just do the work with bare minimum. You know what I mean? Like just barely trying to get by, barely meeting the expectation. Exceed that. If you can exceed that every single time, man, that you've just made that moment exciting. Right. You're making it difficult for them to say no. So all of a sudden, great customer service. You're always answering questions. You're not holding anything back. You're providing value. You're doing great work, and you're doing what you're actually saying that you can do. You're delivering on your promise. Like these are all things that make it so hard for customers to say no to. And then the third thing is always price. But the way that I sort of will argue price points is that you can make it difficult for someone to say no. Even if it's really expensive, if you do all those other things.
Right. Yeah. You have the service that you offer, and the way, and you need to know like what your time is valued at.
That's exactly right.
And you need to know what you're valued at. And insurances and licenses and good paid people, it all costs money. And you have to you can convey that to a customer not by telling them that, but giving them all of that, giving them a good technician in the house, giving them a good customer service experience when they deal with, the office right off the jump. And, you give them that complete package, and then you say, well, this is my price. And, and don't undercut yourself, you just got to kind of stay in your lane though, because I've noticed a lot of people
focus.
A lot of people kind of just do too much at first, and they don't, they don't just find something that works and then just like beat the crap out of it.
Jack of all, master of none, right?
So when it's time, you can always move on to something else and perfect what you do, and be honest with yourself. Because there's always a room for improvement. Always.
Brilliant advice. That should be like on a fortune cookie. Bro, that was amazing. I love it. All right, I'm going to give you some softball questions. These are from left field, though. Okay. I want to know, like, the last thing that you read. I don't care what it is. If it's Dr. Seuss with your kids or something more serious, business mind, it doesn't matter. We've gotten some amazing answers over the years doing the show, but I want to know what the last thing you read.
I got to be honest with you. I don't do a ton of reading. I don't. I'm more of a watch videos type of guy and listen. I got into podcasts recently. That's something maybe over the last few weeks I've kind of gotten into. So I would say less reading. My attention doesn't really allow me to do much of that. But instead of when I'm working now, because I'm in the field still, throw the earphones in and I'm on a podcast. And you can almost take something from everything. I mean, there's so much content out there. If you can just figure out how to like make it somewhat in the way you're operating, you can get a lot of stuff out of there.
All right. Very, very cool. All right. And I want to know, what are you planning on doing anything 2021? Like, what is a plan that you have? It could be business or not, but what is the plan that you have for 2021?
That's a great question, actually. I think where we've been over the last few months, I don't think I have too much thought about a long-term plan, but it's just continuing on the plan that I have now. You know, successful moves and making sure that we have a good solid foundation. And business wise, it's just I'm on like a 3-year plan. You know, I got another little over 2 years of just putting guys in the right position and moving on and eventually maybe franchising.
You've got the brand to do it.
Yes.
I was just about to say it. You stole the words out of my mouth.
Yeah. But I listen, I want something so stable, and I want to be able to have the freedom and the time. Like, I don't have the time now to start making videos and content and putting it out there so that
although you should. I mean, that's important.
Right. It is. It is. It's super important. And I'm like almost there. I almost have some freedom.
But
it's still my everyday thing. And I wouldn't really have it any other way right now. You know, I mean, I love this work. I really do. Yeah. And it's so crazy how, like, when I originally got started, like, people have this emotional reaction to the work that we do because, it's like a lot of the shower stall stuff that we do, which it seems so trivial at the time. But when they're in there and you're using it and they're kind of unhappy with the way it looks in there or whatever, I won't go any further than that. I won't get graphic, but, some of them get pretty bad, And, to just alleviate the stress of having that every day, at a reasonable price that people can afford. I think it's a very fulfilling job, and that's why we do it.
I'm going to end on that note right there. Is that I think all businesses need to really put themselves in the mindset of their customer. Is what you're doing is you're giving your customer something that's going to give them a positive emotion. You have that opportunity, whether it is you're performing a service like yours, you're selling a car, you're a lawyer, you're in some type of education, you're in something health and wellness. It doesn't matter what space you're in. If you're working with a customer, which all entrepreneurs are doing that, what you're doing is you have an opportunity to deliver on something that could change someone's even just their emotion. That's huge. Make it personal. Make it real.
Have pride in what you do.
Exactly.
Have pride in
Thank
what
you.
do, yeah.
Thank you. I totally agree with that. Well, listen, I'm so glad that we were able to finally get together because, again, we've talked online before. I'm disappointed that you haven't done that time lapse. I'm expecting you.
Yeah.
I'm expecting you to do that time lapse, man. I'm telling you. You're talking about, you think you have a lot of business now.
Right.
One time lapse video. I'm telling you, people will be busting down the doors.
Everything's in the works. It's it's all either half done or up in here. But it's been a ride, man.
Cool.
And without. And I'll leave you with the last thought is if you don't surround yourself with positive people that you don't have to hold their hand to do their jobs and you can trust them. One of our things is like, we work on a lot of master bathrooms. There's no more intimate place in someone's home than the master bedroom. You got to be able to trust these people to go in these people's homes, So you just have to trust the people that are working for you. I think I heard it on Shark Tank or something, hire slow, fire fast or whatever. It's very important. If they're not going to represent you well, you're going to stress about it.
It's not worth it.
Yeah. It's your mind is going to be thinking about things that you don't need to, and that's been my biggest thing.
Awesome. Well, listen, pleasure having you here.
Yeah, thank you very much.
No, you got it, man. I appreciate you coming down here and
cool.
sort of sharing some of the behind the scenes world of All About Grout, man. I really appreciate that. One last time, if you could just tell everyone again who you are, the name of your company, how they can find you. I'm sure people are even curious about your services as well. So go ahead.
All right, that's awesome. So my name's Doug. I'm the owner at All About Grout. You could look us up just Facebook, All About Grout. My website is allaboutgroutli.com, and the phone number 631-428-2854.
I'm the same way. Sometimes, like with my own number.
That,
Exactly. I'm like, what's my cell phone number that I've had for 20 years?
Yeah.
Cool, man. All right. So very cool. Everyone, you guys need to go follow this guy because he's not just doing a killer job in his business and performing great service. You actually do a really great job representing your brand and what you do online as well.
Right.
And I know that's why you're getting a good result is you do have pride in your work. You care about people. I get that sense from you. So it's that's amazing. And I think more people need to follow your model business owners, and I think more customers on Long Island should be hiring you like crazy
Yeah, I appreciate
and saying,
that, yeah.
everyone needs to call Doug, be like, Doug, hire more people because you need to scale up. Your business is amazing.
Right. Yeah. And listen, if there's anybody ever out there, I gave you the contact information if you want to.
Looking for a job.
Yeah, for a job or just, hey, how has this been working? How's Facebook? I'm no expert, but I don't mind sharing information.
Cool,
We're all here together. So might as well work with everybody. Good karma, right? Karma's a thing.
I
think karma's
totally
a thing,
agree.
right? I hope it is because I've been working on it.
That's funny. That's awesome. Listen, thanks again for coming down.
awesome.
We're going to have you come back, man. We got to do another follow-up.
That'd be
which
awesome.
is really, really cool. Maybe we could do like a demonstration here or something like that.
Okay.
I think people would really, really like that.
Like HSN or something like that.
Yeah, why not, man? Let's do it up. Let's do it up.
It's only 49 units available. Call now.
Dude, I think we could totally do this together. All right, guys. Well, listen, go check him out. He's amazing. He's doing a great job. But as always, guys, remember, don't fear the process and don't fear grit. We'll see you next time.